It is now time for What's Hot, where we talk about the stories that have everybody talking.
We are joined today by Susie Falk from the Falk Group Public Relations and Jeff Wagner back with us. Lakeland College in Plymouth plans to start arming its security staff. School officials started considering that change about a year ago in response to the gun violence at other campuses.
Now, security guards could start carrying a weapon by early next month should college security forces be armed.
Well, I don't think it's unreasonable one way or the other. I mean, Lakeland is not the first college or university in the state to make that decision. Their thinking is, we haven't had an incident, but we'd rather be safe than sorry. And as long as everybody's trained and has the appropriate permits, I don't have an issue.
And I agree with you, Jeff. You know, unfortunately, we do need security guards at airports and malls, more so now than ever, and NFL games, you know, to bring in the coaches. And so security guards who are armed are everywhere. And unfortunately, now that we have shooting in schools, it just makes sense, I guess, to have armed security guards there, as long as they're well trained and there's no criminal background and they're mentally competent and they're trained with using weapons. I don't see why not.
It's kind of the state of our society now. And if you think about it, when these situations arise and security guards are put in these positions and they're not armed, I mean, that's scary for them as well. A, they can't do anything. Right. And they're defenseless.
The state schools have actual police, UWM, UW.
Right.
Sure,
Madison, they have armed police. These private schools, though, are the ones that get into trouble, you know, trying to get their officers armed.
Well, you know, what's interesting to me, too, is these are controversial because you get a handful of people who object to this. It's sort of like the story we talked about a few days ago where you had the police officer in uniform with a gun who was dropping his child off at the grade school, and some of the parents ended up complaining. I mean, I guess I would feel more secure if you have a trained person, you know, who's there, who knows how to use that firearm. To me, it's a good thing.
Wouldn't you rather have that, too, than these security systems that you have to walk through and get in line and, you know, you're being frisked to get through the doors? I know what some of the high schools are doing, and it's sort of, it's sad, but it's like Courtney said, it's a state of our time. So if we have armed security guards and they're not, you know, pulling their weapons for no reason, I just don't see why there should be an issue.
Everybody would be late to class if they were getting frisked on a college campus.
You'd have to get there an hour before class.
Coming up, if you could...
Or What's Hot in our viewer's choice topic of the day.
Again, we are blessed to have Susie Falk here. And Jeff's, hanging around.
He's here too.
Hey, there are plans to turn an abandoned dog racing track into a Midwest gambling destination. This is down in Kenosha. The Hard Rock chain, it's announced today, would run this proposed gambling facility in exchange for a fee from the Menominee Nation. It's a project that could bring thousands of jobs to the Kenosha area. But Governor Walker doesn't sound like he's going to sign off on this just yet. What do we think?
I think it's going to be hard to get through, quite frankly. Governor Walker has said he needs all the tribes in the state to agree to this. And I know that the three big gaming tribes right now aren't endorsing this project. I think it's going to get tough. It's going to be very tough for those guys to endorse it. The other thing is Governor Walker has said that this tribe has to prove that there's going to be no new net gaming revenue generated by this off-reservation casino. And I don't know how you prove that. And I don't think Governor's office is being very clear about what they're looking for exactly or how the tribe's supposed to prove that. So I don't think this is going to get through very easily.
Well, Scott Walker's been a friend of mine for 20 years. I'm a huge supporter of him. This should be signed off on. I had an opportunity on my radio show this afternoon. I interviewed the CEO of Hard Rock International, and they're going to come in, they're going to run it. He was talking about how it's going to be more than just a casino. It is going to be a destination place, all sorts of entertainment. If you've ever been to one of the Hard Rock cafes or hotels, this is what they are talking about. I don't really think it's going to take that many jobs from the Potawatomi Casino in Milwaukee, but it's going to draw a lot of people up from Illinois, maybe even from Indiana. This is a great opportunity to create thousands of jobs in this state.
Is this, Jeff, since you know him better than anybody in this group here, Governor Walker's subtle way of saying no without saying no? I mean, he comes up with a proposal that he knows is not going to happen because the Potawatomi would never sign off on this.
At some point in time, he's going to have to say no. And if he's going to do that, I think these developments today, you know, you've seen all these ads. People are talking about, oh, maybe this, you know, who's going to be the developers, out-of-state developers, mob ties. Now that you know it's Hard Rock International, I think it makes it more difficult to say no.
I would agree with that.
More appealing.
But Jeff, I have a question for you. Don't you think that it's going to pull from the Milwaukee economy, at least the Potawatomi and Milwaukee?
I think slightly. I don't think as much as they're alluding to, because the truth is, you don't drive gamblers, and I'm one, you don't drive past one casino to get to another. I mean, will it hurt their business? Potentially a little bit, yeah. But I think the big thing, this is going to be drawn from Illinois, and if we don't do something, Illinois is going to be expanding their casinos. Could this hurt Milwaukee a little bit? Yeah. Will this be a huge net gain for the state? At least in my opinion, yes. But
all right, lightning round time, guys. Imagine getting cash out of an ATM with just a simple click on your phone's screen. You don't need a debit card. Could be possible. You'll be able to log onto an app, decide how much money you want to withdraw, cash it from an ATM. Would you try this?
Is it too easy?
I don't think I'd be the first adopter for this one. I want everybody to figure out where the glitches are and the security breaches and all that.
Because what if you lose your phone and you don't have a lock on your phone?
Wouldn't you still,
students?
yeah, right, you still have a card in case you did lose your phone. Who hasn't misplaced their phone for a day?
Right, but then the security on the phone.
It's hard to get through, according to the story here, is that you really have to know, the bank account and everything else, much like you do with when you call your bank.
Okay. This story makes me really feel like a dinosaur because one of the guys I work with, there's a new haircut place around here. They send out these free haircut cards. He goes and gets one. And then he tells me he realizes halfway through the haircut he doesn't have any cash, so he ends up stiffing the poor gal that cut his hair. And I'm saying, how can you go out with no cash? And he says, I never have cash. I talked about this on the radio. 90% of my callers say they never go out with cash. All they do is use their debit cards. I don't get it.
The phone truly is amazing. And if you do go to Starbucks and you're line, I'm always very impressed by the people that just wave their phone at the Starbucks cashier.
You're not there
and they
yet,
walk out with
Susie,
their
but
latte.
you're impressed.
I'm impressed.
I'm a cash boy.
And I'm watching it. I'm jealous. I'm jealous.
Everything's going to be through the phone.
I don't carry
in the
cash.
future.
It bit me in the rear when I had to borrow $50 off of Jeff at a baseball game once.
That's right.
And I heard about it for weeks.
Well, that's because it could be what I thought was a short-term loan became a mortgage. I mean, it was like
He had to hound you. Did you charge
Because
interest?
I never have cash. All right.
So
There's an
you
ATM
learned.
up the
You
street.
learned.
The What's Hot discussion, yes. I learned. TMJ4.com/hot. We'll be back.